How you doing, family? Welcome to another Bantu-Morpheus video. I want to start this video out today talking with you, or continuing. We're going to pick it up where we left off at the end. I'm going to continue to talk about, we're going to finalize the conversation that I was having with you about this, the difference between dominant and recessive. I'm going to briefly finish that off. And I want to, again, couch it in the context of that we're dealing with the human form, okay? And not the spirit, the internal spirit that we each are, okay? That's going to be the topic of this video, okay? I'm going to wrap it up with that, and then the bulk of this video is we're gonna focus on Baba Philippe Matthews' concept of the trauma bonding and capture bonding, and the four frequency of Africans that have developed as a result of the enslavement and the colonization processes, okay? And the only reason why I'm going to give you this is because we need therapy and we need to be self-healing. And that's why what I love about Baba Matthews' concept is that it's all about self-healing, okay? And the other thing I want to focus on after that is I want to bring home the concepts and everything that is in my book, The Anatomy of Existence and the Power of Belief, which is going to be right here, always right there. And in that book, what I'm doing is codifying all of my concepts and the system of beliefs and changes that I made, the paradigm changes that I'm making in my book that will focus on a convergence of paradigm shifts that's happening, but I'm focusing primarily on shifting or doing a paradigm shift in the way that each one of us thinks about God. And this, I want to dispel this myth about Jesus and God and all the lies of the Bible. I want to dispel all of that. And the reason why I say that is because we have to understand that the process of evolution, this is how it goes. You have duality. The duality, the primal duality is you, the infinite spiritual being that is perfect, that is an extension of the totality of the universe that we call, some people call God, I call Ama. And the difference between that and the flesh form vehicle, which is temporary and very flawed, not imperfect, okay? And so there's your first primal duality. And you have the convergence of these two, okay? That's the first duality. And in each one of these dualities, you're always trying to seek ma'at. Ma'at is balance. You want to allow the imperfect, finite flesh form, which has a built-in intelligence of its own that's called instinctive intelligence. You want to have a balance, allow that to have a balance of influence in the mind space that is under its control, but it is also under your control because you are the infinite perfect spirit riding within. You are that which is within. Whenever you hear somebody referring to within or that which is within you, then that is the God. You are the micro God that has your own intelligence system that is called intuitive intelligence. And it is directly connected to the perfection, the perfect mind, or they call the the spiritual mind. Some people call it a mind, a different mind from the physical mind that is created when as the brain develops in the physical form. So you have that duality. You have the two intelligences that have to be balanced out. So you allow the physical form to have a little, which really it takes control. If you have not been trained and been doing your meditation since you're 5, 4, 3, or like that, then 9 out of 10, you're trapped within your human form. And see there's another duality. There are some of us that are trapped in our human forms, and there's the others that are like me, who I control my human form. I have my intuitive intelligence is always working to maintain control over the human form. You have to do the same thing. Meditation is going to get you there. This therapy, this analysis and therapy, which is meditation, which is mantras, which is you projecting thoughts more and understanding the structure of existence itself, which includes the two intelligences and the two, the infinite spirit and the physical form vehicle. And everything outside of this physical form vehicle is an expression also of you, the infinite being. But each one of them is animated in a different way. The human form is an animated electromagnetic based being because the planet is an electromagnetic form itself. So all other forms that are physical nature are going to be electromagnetic in their nature. As above, so below. Okay? So that's wisdom, data, and knowledge. Now you have that you never had before. And another thing, a point I want to bring up by way of a disclaimer is that I will never charge. I think it's a disservice to you as a human being for me to charge you for this kind of information that you should have gotten when you were 5 years old. From the time in the education, this thing they call an education system, that's not an education system. It's designed to keep you under control and to keep you from never, ever waking up and finding out that you are God walking around in a human form. Because if you knew that, here's another thing. This is the other thing. Just that statement alone leads me to the primal paradigm shift that I am offering you by way of knowledge and wisdom. I want to dispel this madness and insanity that has been put in place by their Bible and their religion. Okay? The reason I say that is because the original African tradition never had such a concept. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I was going to say never had a concept of a God universal being somewhere else. But even that needs to be changed. Okay? And the change that I want to make is I want to move all of the authority and all of the ability to affect everything in your life. I want to move it from some entity outside of you. I don't give them that Jesus nonsense. Forget that. Forget the concept of a big overwatching a slave master they call God, who gets angry and if you don't do things right, he'll get angry. He, not she, he will get angry at you and strike you. That's all lies, mythology, fairy tales, all to move the physical slavery system that they have been putting in place for thousands of years, to move the physical slavery concept and controls and all of that framework and all of that nonsense, What they figured out, these filthy things that crawled out of the caves, the mutated Africans, they figured out how to control you without physically brutalizing you. So what they've done, they have systematically created a system using the Bible, first and foremost, to tell you a matrix of lies that if you even try to waste your time reading their Bible to figure it out, before you know it, your whole life cycle is gone and you're dead. And you'll never figure it out. And you'll never have true peace and power, because you'll always feel like somebody else is in control of you. When the truth is, you are God. You are the control. You have been authorized at birth to control every aspect of your environment for yourself. You define everything for yourself, not me, not Jesus, not some fictitious God somewhere. We're moving all of that BS and nonsense of defining everything for you. I'm gonna put it right back where it was originally supposed to be. You. Nobody else. See, because once you do that, family, once you take control and take responsibility, once you take control, you have to take responsibility. You have to. And when you take responsibility, that's when you become liberated. Because now you get out of the habit of blaming Jesus every time something goes wrong, or blaming yourself, saying there's something wrong with you, when it's not you, it's the human form, baby. It's the human form that has to be controlled. And when things don't go exactly the way you want, that's called challenge. That's designed to make you stronger. What is the you I'm talking about? I'm talking about the intuitive intelligence controlling the instinctive intelligence of the human form. The intuitive intelligence, which is this perfect aspect of the universal being. That is you. That's why I call you a micro God. You are a micro version of Ama, the universal spirit, which controls everything. You don't have no choices in that. But it set up a system where you can have the illusion of individuality and the illusion of separation from the totality. Because this is my concept. Because I believe that the universal spirit that is completely perfect needs nothing. That's why this nonsense of a universal spirit being angry. Why would a universal spirit be angry at you when there's nothing that you do that affects it at all? So why would it get angry at you? Why would it even be looking at you? You're such a nanite on a nanite on a nanite. You are so invisible. Stop it. You were designed, that same entity gave you control and said, here, I'm giving you your own unique perspective that allows you to feel like you're separate from me, okay? And I'm giving you all the powers and attributes that I have in a micro form, and I'm giving it to you. And it's called the power to create. I'm assigning a machine to you. We're calling it the subconscious mind, which is you, but I'm gonna give you the ability to see it as a separate aspect. I'm giving you that authority and that ability and those powers. That's what was given you at birth, family. Ain't this something? And what people say, oh, why he's so emotional and he's so angry. No, it's just that, family, when you wake up to the con job, you should be outraged, and you use that outrage to propel a better system and create a better system that's based on honesty and decency and based on the concept of live and let live and empower the entire group so the entire human race can become better. Move us to a higher, the next level. We're ready to go to the next level, family. That's why the universe created me, to be here telling you this stuff. This is not about me. And am I animated? Am I passionate? Absolutely. Absolutely. Am I enthusiastic? Absolutely. When you understand the power and the truth of what you are and what you're capable of, you will be as enthusiastic and animated and as I am. And the reason why I do this is because I really want you to be free. I want to free you from that damn Bible and that filthy nonsense and lies and matrix of absolute fairy tales and mythology that is designed to bog your mind down to make sure you never, ever wake up. And when you realize that is true, then you're going to be as insulted and yes, angry. Not angry, as much frustrated. I get more frustrated. I get a little angry because it's diabolical what they've done. They know the truth and they're doing this on purpose. And you know why? Because the flesh is running everything. Not the internal spirit. The human form has not evolved to the point until now where the flesh can now be put under the control of the intuitive intelligence of the eternal universal spirit. That I am the beginning of that. There's some nanites of that happening in their Bible, but it's a nanite covered up by a matrix of absolute madness and insanity and murder and contradictions, lies, and it's just outrageous what they have done. Again, listen, they don't even hide it. They tell you it's a version. This is King James's version of what they call the truth. It's a damn lie. King James was king. He's a king. Duh. Absolute power. What? Is corrupt. Absolutely. And he's a damn king. So therefore, he's automatically corrupt. There should be no kings. There should be a council of elders, of women, of multiple people. That's democracy. And the Africans had that before the filthy mutated Africans crawled out of the caves 10,000 years ago and screwed up every doggone thing. And you know what, family? I don't even want you to misinterpret that. That's the will of the universal spirit. It was time for us to put away the old ways of us thinking and conceptualizing the universe and the powers, because the old ways also, the ancestors also, you didn't have no power. The power was always with the ancestors somewhere else. There's Obatalao, and it's always somebody outside of you. And all of that is over. You have the power. You were born with it. Now, here's the problem. Everything new is small. So you may look at my views on this thing and you'll see I have no 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 subscribers. Family, I don't care. You know why? Because my joy and my happiness and my heavenly experience that I'm living right now, that motivates me to give you all this information at no charge, because charging you would be an insult. That's like me charging myself for telling the truth about myself and exposing the muscles and the power that I have, that for myself, I'm going to charge myself. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's nonsense. And because you are no different from me, and I love you. I would like to socialize with you and share energies and insight and wisdom with you. But together we can work to meditate and heal others that are not well, and do what we can to make life better for others who are struggling and don't really know what's going on. Okay. So, that's what I would do. So I can't charge you for any of this, okay? And you don't need to be giving nobody no 10% or nothing for nothing. Stop that. Listen, meditate, find the original African principles, which are about 20, 25, 30 of them that said, I have not committed murder. I have not stolen. I have not. And these are things this is the universal spirit, the intuitive intelligence beginning to exercise its control over the instinctive intelligence of the human form. That is a brute. And it's designed to be a brute because all its function is to survive on a bare bone level. And it took us millions of years to get to the point where we could develop a system, a culture, where we could get control over this human form and stop it from killing each other willy-nilly just for brute raw survival. And we had accomplished those goals. And I guess the evolutionary process, it goes up and then it goes down, it goes up, and then it goes down, it goes up, and then it goes down. That's like the stock market. That's the way a good stock operates. And because that's in harmony with the evolutionary process. See? And so just because, I'm gonna play my role, and I'm only gonna be able to take this thing and give you enough information that's gonna move the human spirit to just so high. No one entity, group, or silo or culture is going to be able to do it all for everybody, because there is no such thing as no one's Messiah. You don't need messiahs. You don't need a God outside of yourself to worship. Don't need it, never needed it. Because the universal spirit don't need you to worship it. That's another lie. Or let me say, maybe it's not an intentional lie. I think it is, but I think it's a mistaken concept. It's something that was old school back in the day because they didn't know no better, maybe. But my job is to empower you. Inner power. Put the power back where it's always been. And here's another thing. You already know this stuff because you're a perfect intuitive intelligence. You already know this stuff. In every lifetime, you have to be reminded, or what I call awakened to the reality in each incarnation, because you will go through and you will incarnate into some form, and I believe it's human, forever. This is never going to stop. See, that gives you power right there. So that means you don't die. The human form dies. That's why it's called a finite form. It's temporary. It's like random access memory. They call it RAM memory on a computer. As soon as you cut the computer off, that memory dumps everything it ever knew. And as soon as you cut the computer back on, it reloads the new stuff that you're putting out. And that way, you guarantee a fresh start every time. You won't bring no baggage from the past. Because the universal spirit, it functions on evolution, and evolution only goes in one direction: forward, up. Ain't no going back. That's that conservative crap that these mutates are talking about. That's not what this is about. This is about you getting better, doing the new, doing the next level, shedding the old bark and letting that new bark come through. That's why the Democratic Party is a bunch of morons, because they don't have enough young people in there, bringing in the new fresh bark and the new ideas and the new concepts. They're being held back by the old farts in the Confederate KKK, white supremacist, GOP, Russian, what do you call them things when they go against the government? Traitors. Okay, that whole party is full of nothing but traitors, and they're being paid off by the 1%. First thing Trump did was give all of them $2 trillion of war chest money to do everything, to work with the Russians, work with anybody they can get their hands on, because they saw Obama go in that office and they said, oh hell, this Browning thing is real. They actually believe that, and that's why I'm gonna take you into Philippe Matthews. I apologize for monologuing, but I have to give you this fundamental breakdown and background and base that my book, The Anatomy of Existence and the Power of Belief, is designed to give you. So long, I'm gonna leave these videos out here for you. The book is gonna be out there for you. Hopefully I can get my son and some of you will. I don't need no disciples. This is not what this is about, because disciples imply that there's a Messiah somewhere. We ain't gonna fall for none of this egotistical nonsense. I am just another. Listen, I'm just another human form with an internal, universal micro God, intuitive intelligence inside, doing my job. And I've already been paid. You know what my payment is? My mind is free of the paranoia, the terror of a heaven and a hell that doesn't exist, of God Almighty looking down on me and saying, I'm watching you and you better not say Jesus and God damn it in the same sentence, because if you do, I'm gonna strike you. You're not gonna get into heaven. That don't exist, and neither does this bull crap of it don't exist. It's a distraction, family. It's a distraction. I want you to be empowered to know that you were born with authority to use your own judgment to pick and choose the thoughts that you project, instead of the reactive thoughts that the human flesh form in the instinctive intelligence just keeps bringing up because it saw something out here. That's called impulsiveness. And that gets you nothing. It's designed to protect you, so it serves a purpose. But in terms of you controlling your future and the things that are coming into, and you're attracting to yourself through the law of attraction, through the laws of what's that term? Where you repeat, auto-suggestion. Okay, these are just the rules that describe the system that is you, to get you to get what you want when you want it, as soon as possible, within the context of everybody else. You're in a community of fellow humans that have the same authority, and we're getting so much better at working together. And that's what these Confederate GOP and the Russians, they hate that. And the 1%, they hate that. They don't want the masses of the people to be individually empowered, so they can't find a leader to assassinate so they can kill the movement. And that's my job, is to make each and every one of you a leader. They can't kill us all. You know why? Because the lazy bastards, they need somebody to use. They need a slave. They need somebody to do the work for their lazy, no good asses. I'm not talking about Elon Musk. I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos. Don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about Bill Gates. We ain't gonna do that either. That's another con job. See, then you gotta understand, is this flesh form vehicle here? And these filthy 1%ers out there somewhere, their job is to confound, confuse, and make sure you never stay focused. They go get him, go blame. It's the crab in the barrel. It's not, and a little bit more in the dumbass Democrats, who I love my Democratic Party, but they're dumbasses. See, I'm like this with my family. They get mad at me, but they know I'm right. When you do dumb shit, I'm gonna tell you you're a dumbass. You're doing dumb shit. And you're going against the will of the universal spirit, and you're gonna lose. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. Because you're bucking up against the universal spirit. You can't do that. You're gonna lose. That's my job, is to point out the mistakes. And I don't care what people think about me. When you roll in with the universal spirit and the intuitive intelligence, baby, you ain't scared of nothing. That's the one see, and that's the one thing about their Bible. They take nanites of truth and cover it in a bevy, a matrix of lies. So you get confused. That's like what they do with this Democratic and Republican Party. And these bastards move from, they take a title and they say, oh, I leave the Democrat, but I'm going to be a Republican now. And it's just shit that they could just do. It's an impulse and they just do, and they don't, and then they try to tell you what's really going on as they're lying to you. But see, if you read your history, family, like I did 25 years ago when I was at Fordham University, I knew something was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I had a great teacher who happened to be Jewish and white. So this race thing is just some old BS. Okay, but he taught me that you have to tell people what you have done and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's why when I do these movies with you, I'm not gonna do scripted movies with you. Ain't gonna be no scripted. I don't like that. I'm gonna give it to you raw with all the mistakes minus my editing. I'm gonna edit out some of the really ridiculous mistakes. But for the most part, I don't want to be scripted with you. I want to give it to you raw, straight up. And he allowed me, he taught me, or let me say his teaching style motivated and encouraged me to do whatever you want, whatever you think is best. His job was to show you how to package it up, make it comprehensive, and make it precise. He would not allow us to use the word was or any form of the verb to be. So that would make me get right to the point, all right? And in doing so, I did a deep research on, and the name of my paper was the Republican Party and the Confederates of the Civil War and their a shared agenda, which is to promote and instill and maintain white supremacy, the mythological white supremacy that does not exist without the Bible. See, the Bible is designed to perpetuate white supremacy. It was created by a quote unquote mutated African who took on the title of white, James. Back then, don't matter whether he was white or black, he still was about maintaining power and control over the masses of the people, which they called a herd. And my job is to dispel the lies and show you how to throw that Bible in the garbage and develop your own internal system for yourself, defined by you. You don't need nobody, you don't need no pastor, you don't need Jesus, you don't need some God somewhere, you don't need the church. You can go to church if you want to socialize with some people that you love and you enjoy being around. Do it in that way if you want to. I don't need that because I'm already free. I'm already in heaven. I'm living my truth every day, and I'm getting smarter and smarter every day because I'm flexing the muscles of judgment that the universal spirit gave each and every one of us that their Bible tells you not to use. Right there, family, right there. They're telling you, I want to control everything and define everything for you. When I take your judgment from you, that means now you listen to my judgment. You trust my judgment, not your own. You trust my judgment. That right there should set off the Jim Jones bell for you. Anytime anybody telling you don't use your own judgment that the universe gave you at birth, so then what the universe give you judgment for? Come on, family. And see, that's another thing. A lot of this stuff is very common sense and it's right in your face. So what I want to talk with you about, I wanted to give you that about the duality. I wanted to give you that about that everything new starts small. even when the first human being, the human forms that were really getting it, pulling it together, and with the first human forms that began to walk upright and straight, they were small people, not even barely 4 feet tall, because the human form was new. Okay? So everything I'm telling you can be validated by looking at our past. That's the only thing the past is good for, to go back and look at and learn about the overall general way that evolution works, and the development and the growth of all things start out small and grow big later on. And that's where we are now. So that's why the human forms are bigger, the brains are bigger, because over the evolutionary process, you develop better, smarter, bigger, more awakened, more under control, being controlled by the intuitive intelligence. And see, I picked up on this in just my constant looking at life and trying to ask the universe, what the heck? How does that work? And that's been my greatest tool, is my curiosity my curiosity about how things work. As a technician, as a computer programmer in the very beginning, back in when did I start? Back in 1969 or 68 or something like that, when the VIC-20, it was my first computer. I was curious, and my curiosity, the universe brought me here because of my curiosity to give it to you, and use my curiosity to learn about this entire system, and made me a technical technocrat. Basically, I'm very good at studying detail, but my right side brain, which is more of a communal brain, versus the left side brain, which is why the mutated Africans went in the caves, because the right side of the physical form vehicle had begun to dominate and take control, and made us too superstitious, and started giving away and creating and imagining and making up stuff that just wasn't real. Talking about this deity and iron, and there's a lot of people who believe in all that stuff, but you're wasting your time. Again, you're putting the power in an oracle. In other words, you can't figure nothing out for yourself. You need an oracle or somebody to tell you about you. I'm not going for none of that. I even did it for a long time. I used the Yi King. I used a couple other African stick throwing things, and I did all that for a while. But you know what? You do that, if you do that, you do it as a crutch or training wheels in the beginning. But ultimately, you got to cut that off, because all that's designed to do is help you to get your own judgment together. That's what it's designed to do. You ain't supposed to be staying on that stuff for life. That's not how this works, family. That's not how this works. You got everything you need built into you to run this sucker. That's your job, is to be better and take total control over your environment. And when this vehicle times out, you should even take that. What I'm doing now is I'm taking that authority, now I'm taking it to the next level. I'm saying, oh, well, if I can use my vision and my imagination and my mantras and some rhythmic music and repeat it thousands of times, hell, I'm gonna just go ahead and see myself, see what kind of body I want in the next life. I'm going here, I'm taking this to the next level, because all the control is within. It's right here, family. That's the message. You got everything you need. Now, here's where the problem comes in for African and African Americans. I didn't do this. I wanted to do this before I started this video, but I wanted to show you something about let me start screen sharing here. All right, and I'm gonna pick it up on this particular slide. Well, I'm going to take it to the top, and we'll go with Baba Philippe Matthews. I want to introduce you to him formally. This is his, let me get this blown up nice and big. This is his website where you can get all the information you need about his programs, his 4 frequencies of human forms that he breaks down and explains that have evolved out of his, out of the enslavement process that has taken place primarily in the United States. That's who he's he's focusing on. And he also focuses on the diaspora because the same Eurocentric education system in Christian indoctrination and Islamic indoctrination systems that have indoctrinated the minds of Africans all out throughout the diaspora. But the worst and most vicious one was the American U.S. form of chattel slavery and brutality and murder and oppression. So he breaks that down, and then he's going to break down to you the 4 traumas, the 4 types of trauma that have impacted African Americans in the diaspora, and African Americans in particular. Okay, and he's going to break that down for you. And he's going to talk to you about him, who he is, and he'll explain to you how he knows that the African American is the original God/goddess, first frequency, which all Africans are. The darker, browner ones are, and the ones that have not been mutated either and have become Spanish, European, Italian, Norwegian, Asians, and all of those different mutated forms. Okay. And then we're going to go over here again. He's going to introduce you to the Black fragility concept, which is another outgrowth of the 4 traumas. Okay. And the reason these things happened, and this, what he talks about here is that Black people in America are constantly forced to conform by the church and through the religions, and to comply and assimilate into the psychopathic, mentally insane culture that has evolved over the past 10,000 years with the mutated Africans that crawled out of the caves that I talk about, back in my past movies. I'm not going to beat you to death with that, but I'm going to give you a quick synopsis with this next slide where we're going to talk about that. Okay, and here Philippe Matthews mentions the 2nd frequency people, which I have decided to flip that a little bit, and I want the 2nd frequency Africans to be the nigger bitch hoe Africans that he talks about, and he calls them the 4th frequency. I call them the 2nd frequency because I think they're closer to, even with all the vulgarity and with all of that, what I respect about them and I love about them is that they have created this lemonade out of the lemons that they were forced to create this lemonade as a result of the trauma of enslavement and segregation. Okay? And this is why segregation and white supremacy and whiteness had to be created eventually. This was inevitable because when they crawled out of the caves and we taught them how to stop eating each other, drinking each other's blood, and to bathe, take baths again. You know, they couldn't bathe in the ice and in the caves. It's too cold. It would kill them. And to stop brutalizing each other. It took hundreds of thousands or hundreds of years to get them, you know, to this point, thousands of years to get them to the point where they would stop eating each other, drinking each other's blood, and bathing, and how to use herbs in order to heal themselves and deal and create vaccines and all of this stuff that they later on picked up after we taught them about geography, land navigation, how to navigate the seas and sail, because they didn't know how to do anything. They couldn't read the stars. They had been in the caves for 100,000 years, 100,000, 300 years. They were in the caves and the ice, and they mutated from the original Africans that they were, where we were brown and short, and they went in the ice and they became these barbaric, psychopathic, mass murderers and vicious things that they are now. Some of them have recognized the vulgarity and the filthiness that they have become after seeing what a real human looks like, after coming out of the caves and seeing the Africans and seeing their humanity and seeing their democratic system already in place, and seeing the one thing that terrified them the most was this. They saw the massive, monumental stoneworks that and the artistry that terrified them. They could not get their heads around the fact that they had missed out on 100,000 years of human development. And now they're at the rock bottom and they have nothing. And so this creates in the human form a level of desperation no humanity up until that time had never experienced. They had never come across a human form that was that, what's the word, psychopathic, homicidal, vicious, murdering, cannibalistic, filthy things that they evolved into. The other humans on the planet had never experienced anything like this. That's why when the Native Americans in America, in South America, and down in Haiti and all these different places in Hispaniola, Africans were already there. They had already mastered navigating the seas, reading the stars, geography, astronomy, which is the stars, mastering the chemicals and the herbs and being able to heal themselves against the normal diseases in the areas that they moved into, coming out of Africa, learning how to sail over 100,000 years, while the rest of the mutated Africans wallowed in filth and emptiness, and while the rest of us who stayed out in the sun for 100,300 years, mastered abundance. We had plenty. We had mastered husbandry, how to control the animals. We had mastered growing crops and storing food, so we didn't have to scrounge for every season. We would store food we mastered all of that. 100,000 years, family. And while they had nothing except to have babies just to have something to eat. That's what the Africans had to face as the ice age began to recede after 100,300 years. So the first ones to come out were the ones that was closest to the surface, who were forced there by the more brutal ones who fought to get closer to the core of the planet where the warmth was. So they forced all of the weaker ones out to the perimeter, and therefore when the ice receded, the weaker ones were the ones who came out first. That's your Norwegians, that's your Swedish, that's your Eskimos, That's your all your northern area, not the filthy Russians that came later, and the Vandals, the Anglo-Saxons, the Saxons, the barbarians. They called them the Berbers and the barbarians. These people, they were the last ones to come out. The first ones were the Swedish, the Norwegians, the decent ones. Even some of the Greeks, decent. But the Romans, the Italians, oof, bottom of the barrel, bottom feeders. The Germans, Germanic, these are the barbarians. Those were the last ones to come out because they were closest down to earth. So they came out, but see, they were already the strongest. So when they came out, they forced all the other ones who had already been used to the cold, that they had lived in that environment for 100,000 years. So they were pretty used to the cold. That's why the first ones to come out, they went to the northern climates. They stayed there. They were more comfortable there. Their noses had shriveled down to these little slivers to try to keep the cold air from getting in. So they slipped down the lips, nothing hanging out. So you want to make the lip down to nothing sticking out. No butt, no nose, nothing. Everything that stuck out froze. So therefore, the over 100,000 years of having babies, the human form changed, morphed into these with these kinds of characteristics in order for pure raw brute survival. Okay, you got to understand how that works. So that part of it is not racial, it's not anything, but it just tells you how the evolution of the human form can be impacted by their environmental changes. Okay, so when they saw these things, the jealousy hit them. They saw they had nothing and the Africans had everything. So the jealousy hit them. Okay, so this jealousy, envy, resentment, and hatred because the brains are mutated. They're psychopathic now. They're brute, barbaric, filthy animals at this point. Blood-sucking, drinking, flesh-eating, filthy animals. That's what they were. So bad were they that the Norwegians, the Swiss, and they ran away from. They did everything in their power to get away from it. It was so filthy and evil and nasty. So they knew they wouldn't like the cold, so they went running to the cold, and they knew they would run to the heat, the filthy ones, and they would attack everything in the sun. And that's what they did with the Africans. That's what they did with the Native Americans. That's what they did in Hispaniola. The Spanish came in and did that. Okay, first, then the English, then the French, and all of them came to feed on the people of the sun. That's what they do. They had nothing. So they had to come and rob and steal, rape and pillage. And they did that amongst their own. They did that to the Norwegians. They did that to the Switzerlands. They did that to all of them. They did it to all of them, practiced and became masters of it. By the time they got to the Africans, and then the Chinese learned how to use gunpowder through the chemistry that we taught them. If you look at their Buddha, his Buddha is big lip and nappy headed. Okay, family, I want to interject here this piece about the Asian. Here you're gonna notice, I'm gonna share screen with you here. Okay, and I want you to see the Asians, the first Buddha that they worshipped. Their and notice here that, let me go ahead and give you, let's go ahead into full screen view here. I want you to see this, family. Notice how, okay, here's the first one. Now, I want you to look at, again, here we have, and I didn't mention this much in the other videos. And I want you to notice here, fam, look at what they do. This is a repeated trend in the covering up and the denial of the African influence and leadership. But see, you can't hide the truth when the people who gave you everything leave such an impact on you that you can't even hide it. So look at what they did here with the nose. They try to hide the nose, right? Notice that they try to chip away part of the lip, but the bottom lip is still there. You look at a Chinese person, they don't have lips like this, family. Now, that is just straight up pure facts. And why do you need to break the nose off? Why you didn't break the eyes out? Why you didn't break off the earlobes? Why you didn't break off the chin? Why you only broke the nose and the top lip? Because the top lip is gonna look like those Twa Mbuti first people. The Twa Mbuti, right? The Khoisan, the first humans that traveled and navigated the seas and traveled using the stars, right? And they traveled into Asia, or when they came out of the caves in Asia, the Africans were already there. And they worshiped them because look, they try to break off the nose, they try to break off the lip, but what you gonna do about that kinky hair right there, folks? How can you get around the kinkiness of that hair? You can't get around it. See, you can try to break off the nose and the lip, but what you gonna do about the hair? How you gonna get past that? See, you can't lie about them. You just can't lie about your ancestors. Okay, let's give you more proof with the Asians. Okay, look at this. Here's an ancient statue from God knows when, but why did they make it black, family? Why did they make it pink? Like the, what do you call? Because see, when they were doing art back then, there was no such thing as racism and white supremacy. It didn't exist. So people were brutally honest. And they valued this artwork so they don't dare get rid of it. They hide it in the background so nobody else can see it. But why is the person black? Look at the hair again. They try to blur out the hair, but it's kinky. What is that about? Because they're African. And I'm sure these 6 globes that are around the halo is where they get the halo concept from. Okay, they have some significance, but I don't know what it is. Here's the original picture, and all the black people working in the monastery, which is where they had to go for all of their wisdom, because the only people who really knew were the priests. Now here again, you try to do funny with the mouth, but you can't deny the nose. You can't deny that Twa and Mbuti Khoisan lips. You can't deny it. And look at the hair, dreadlocks, some form of kinky. That Chinese people don't have hair like that. They don't have hair like this. Is their Buddha. This is their God. This is who they worship at the time. Okay, let's move on. And it's going to get worse. Look at this. Here you go again. Look at the lips. Asian people don't have lips like that. And look at the kinky hair. Even if you see, they try to smooth out the nose a little bit, but it's still very wide. Chinese people don't, Asian people don't have wide noses like this. Maybe some of the Cambodians, the more darker skinned ones up today, but how you gonna get past that kinky hair, folks? No Asian has kinky hair. None of them. None of them have kinky hair like this, folks. Maybe the Cambodians have some of that Twa and Mbuti Khoisan close blood still deep on the top surface. But kinky hair like this, here you go. You can't lie about the hair. You might get past the nose, but you can't get past the lips. You can't get past the kinky hair. Those are the 3 markers that every person looks at to determine your genetics. Look at the nose. Here we go again with the lips. And again, the kinky hair. dreadlocks, if not outright kinky. Here's another Buddha, example of Buddha. Now that's pure D-African right there, folks. Look at the lips, my goodness. The Olmec head's lips are almost that broad, the wide length of the nose. Even the eyes are barely mongoloid. And again, the hair, okay? Not as kinky in this case. Here we go again. Look at the bottom statue on the right, the curly, kinky hair. Okay, I think the one on the top left is more of an Indian version, okay, with the dot in the middle of the head. The Indians, who are right next to the Chinese, right next to them, pick that up, okay? And they call them, I think, what they call them, the Tila, the Fila people, the Fila people, or something like that, to that thing, something like that, okay. And then here, pure black. They don't even try to mess around with this. This pure black. That's just what it is. They ain't even gonna try to play around with it. Again, the dreadlocks, the kinky hair. Okay. Here's the full image. And then finally, look at this. The pure kinky hair, flat nose, wide lips, game over. Pure African. And of course, they're going to Asianize, they're going to Mongolize it. They're going to try to make it look a little like them. You're supposed to do. That's what people do. That's what people do. Okay? So I just wanted to give you this background, this when it comes to the Asians. Okay? So who do you think the Chinese worship? The evidence is everywhere, folks. Look at these, look at the nose. They try to chop the nose off. Look at the Olmec nose. Look at the nose on the Sphinx. They chop it off and then they try to recreate this phony Europeanized nose on the right-hand side over here. This nonsense, absolute nonsense. This a lie. And listen, the lying and the deceit is a part of the ice cave experience that they came from. Lying and deceit is DNA for them. And that's why when the Africans and the South America, the Africans in South America, Africans all throughout the diaspora who had now spread all over the world, came into contact with these filthy things, and they had no idea what a lie was. That humanity had evolved over 100,000 years out in the abundance of the sun, the abundant crops, the abundant food, the abundant seafood to eat, the abundant animals to husbandry and grow, and eggs and chickens, and all of this abundance of husbandry and learning achievements. And so they had so much that they had no problem sharing with the next neighbor. It was standard procedure. Trust, that was your word, was your bond. It was a given. I mean, it was unheard of for somebody to lie. It was no reason to lie. There was plenty for everybody. But there was still some tribal disputes and a lot of warring and carrying going on amongst the Africans who were out here. There was a lot of that. We weren't out of the woods on that one by no stretch of the imagination. And that's why the filthy mutates were able to come in and take advantage of the little squabbles. And because we had evolved to a certain level, we still weren't quite there yet. Even to this day, there's still a lot of old habits of giving, seeing deities and everything, and giving all kinds of credit to all kinds of things, everything but you, the one that is the walking God. But they didn't know. They hadn't evolved to that level. We now have the expertise. And this is what the metaphysicians, this is what the folks in Egypt had masters. Remember, Egypt was the culmination of the Sumerians, culmination of the Sudanese, culmination of the Memphites. These were the coming out of Somalia and Ethiopia. And what was the name they gave to us? There's a name, I know it was Sudanese, and there's some other names, I'll list them. The Memphites and the Sumerians. And there were so many of us that were so brilliant and had mastered the chemistry and everything that we taught to the Chinese. We taught that to the Eskimos. We taught that to all of the other different peoples who had migrated around the world. And then the best of the Africans culminated in Egypt. And that's why they try to take Egypt and rename it and try to Euroify it and make all of the great kings and all of the great scholars and all of the Hermes, Trismegistus, and all this stuff. These people who went and learned from the Egyptians and the Africans. They're playing this kind of game, renaming everything because they have to claim it, folks. They have nothing. If you have nothing, what do? You imitate the best of the best. And when all else fails, what you do is you kill off as many people around who know the true story, and then you rewrite the story and change it, make it look like you did something. And it's what you're seeing. All these scientists, all these people who are running around here, computer scientists, all this stuff, they built on the stolen legacy. That's why we have a book called The Stolen Legacy. And that the legacy they're talking about is the original knowledge that has been improved over time by other Africans and given it to them. And they sit over the shoulder and watch and learn. And then they go run off and write a book and claim they did it. Herodotus, Socrates, Copernicus, all these people writing. But you see, if you go back and you really read this stuff, they'll tell you they got it from somebody else. That's our ancestors. Okay? So the key thing I want to give you that background so you understand how they got to have all this super knowledge that they have. They built on what we start, and that's the evolutionary process. They built on what my African ancestors gave them, which is their African forefathers as well. But if you check the DNA, you're going to see all of this is true. And mitochondrial DNA does not lie. It's science. It's facts. Okay? I want to make some other points here about the way things go when you're dealing with dominance and recessive. You're going to see this repeatedly. You're going to see this dominant theme where recessive people are going to mate with dominant people, and then the child is going to come out looking more like the dominant person. And if that same dominant looking child mates with another dominant person, that Eurocentric, recessive whiteness is going to fade away. So because of that, they had to create a whole new thing. So the point I want to make before I go into that, I want to talk to you about the evolutionary process itself and how it works. Let me get another annotation tool here. The evolutionary process works like this. When things are in the beginning, they start out small and teeny. And now that same concept can morph over into your power of the laws of attraction. When you first start out, your muscles are teeny and underdeveloped. So the things you're trying to accomplish may be a little slower in coming around because you haven't developed the muscle. You haven't done the meditation. You haven't practiced the visualizations. You haven't practiced adding in the emotions and the feelings and the detail. And you haven't done it for enough times to get enough in the pipeline so that you can begin to see the kind of results that you want. So don't get discouraged because you got to understand how the process works. This is how the process works. Everything starts out, like they said in the movie with Jodie Foster, small little steps. And each step makes a journey and an accomplishment. And a series of accomplishments, which is like building muscles, strands of muscles. As you keep building and lifting the weights and practicing and lifting the weights and practicing, you're going to build muscle striations and muscle strands, and you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and better and better and better. And that's the evolutionary process of the human form. That's the evolutionary process of your use of the law of attraction and your use of your visualization skills that's going to motivate your beliefs, and your beliefs are going to motivate the subconscious machine to create whatever it is you want. Okay, that's the process, family. And if you're just starting out, don't be so hard on yourself. You got to control your instinctive intelligence of the flesh form vehicle, which is a dumb brute, and that's a whole lot of work. Okay, but you can cut a nice corner if you throw the Bible out and you just stand on your own two legs and build the muscles of standing on your own two legs and using your own judgment. See, that's how you're going to get it done. You got to practice using muscles you've never used before. And the Bible has terrorized you into believing a bunch of crap that scares the living hell out of you, and you're terrified to stand on your own. And that's what they want. They want to be able to define everything for you. You need an oracle. You need everything. You need an oracle. You need a pastor. You need Jesus. You need a God somewhere. You need to get into a heaven somewhere. You have to, you're terrified of going to a hell somewhere that nobody's ever seen, been in, don't even know what the hell it is. You know, and I can tell you what hell is. Hell is living in a world ignorant, dumb, and powerless. That's hell. You already in hell, don't even know it. The education system made sure you stay dumb, ignorant, because it's designed by the 1%ers to keep you dumb and ignorant. And the Bible is the #1 weapon that they use, because they finished using brutality with slavery. Now they got your mind. They bombard you all day long with commercials that train your brain to only be able to focus for no more than 3 minutes at best. You look at the average person, their attention span is about that long. That's because the 1%ers wanted you to be a dumbass. And you are trained to be a dumbass. And that's why you look at Judge Judy, and you look at what's that, Jerry Springer, and now they got the basketball wives. Black people finally get a chance to be on TV like a bunch of damn fools and clowns. How come you never see no black people on TV telling you stuff like what I'm telling you? Learn to control yourself, be disciplined. Learn the difference that your body is nothing but a vehicle to be used and dominated and controlled with compassion. Okay? They don't tell you that. They don't want you to be an intellectual. They don't want you to sit down and think critically about every aspect of existence. No, they want you to finger pop, and if it ain't exciting, Mickey Mouse and Christmas and and stupidity, if it's not entertaining, and there's nothing wrong with being a little bit entertaining, because sometimes you can educate people who's brainwashed by interdetainment processes, brainwashing, interdetainment, brainwashing, to detain your inner brain so your intuitive intelligence never can get in control. So therefore you stay a puppet to the TV and to the Bible and its madness and matrix of absolute psychopathy, psychopathic madness. Oh, they don't want you to meditate. They don't want you to do Tai Chi. They don't want you to get into no kind of jujitsu or aikido or kung fu, which is going to demand that you discipline the mind. Or they don't want you into that. They want you to think that's hard. Oh, that's so hard to do. Oh, I gotta meditate. I gotta actually focus for how long? How long do I have to focus? If I have to do for a whole 2 minutes of silence and just listening to my breathing. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God damn it, Jesus. Oh, I just said, God damn it, in Jesus. Oh, I'm going to hell. Oh, jeez. Oh, my whole life is over. Don't you get tired of being a goddamn fool and a puppet? Don't you feel it inside that something is wrong? That's what's wrong. You're living a lie. You're a puppet. You've been brainwashed, bamboozled, as my brother Malcolm said. You've been hoodwinked. And the church and the Bible, he was scared to say that. There's so many of them out there scared to say it. See, because I don't give a damn. I know the truth. And I could get even more vulgar, but see, that's playing into their game. But I only do it enough so I can get your attention so you can understand this is serious. And you'll know that you're brainwashed and that they're in total control of every aspect of your life when you get a lot of money. And you see, no matter how much money you got, you can't find peace, joy, and happiness. Why? Because your intuitive intelligence is not in control, and that instinctive intelligence is a dumb, stupid, childish brute that has no intelligence, no serious critical thinking intelligence that will allow you to be able to control your thinking, focus, your mind space, to know and bond with your true essence, to be able to find that perspective within yourself and say, oh, here I am. Oh, this is me. I am this watcher. I am not the body. The body is the one that has all the feelings and the emotions and everything. But if they're out of control, if your mind is a racetrack full of garbage and paranoia and shit you can't prove, you're out of your mind. You're out of control. And I don't care how much money you get, you won't be happy. Your happiness lies in realizing that you are a micro God, built in with all the powers and all the muscles you need in order to learn how to work this whole game. You don't need nobody outside of yourself. You don't. You never did. You were kind of, they took your need, your reliance on your mom and your parents that is only supposed to last until you're 2021, really. And then after that, you're supposed to get out and prove that all the 21 years of work that they've put into you, and all the things they have given you, the protections and the wealth and the clothing and the food and the roof over your head, and teaching you how to wipe your behind and teach you how to be a decent human being, all that work, all that sacrifice. And you're in a society that teach you not even to respect your mother and your father, because that's how much control they want. And they tell you, they say, forsake your father for their goddamn religion, their filthy Bible that they carried every time they came to lynch your mama and rape your mama and your daddy and your brother and your sisters. They had their Bible, and they burned the cross in your house to terrorize your ass into believing. And if you don't believe, we're going to come back tomorrow night and we're going to burn the whole house down. Terrorize your ass. And it's so deep, and did it for 450 years. So now it's burned into your DNA, and you're born with that stuff epigenetically hanging off your DNA. And you don't understand what is this. And so many of you are born insane from terror. And then you come out and they blast you in the pulling pin of the Bible grenade and put that on your ass and terrorize you psychologically for another 400 years. Until you run into somebody like me, you ain't got a prayer. You so goddamn scared. I'm sorry. But it's true. You are so terrorized into believing their con job. You don't have prayer. If you haven't been doing 44 years of being in the world and not being a part of the world and living the truth of righteousness, you don't have a prayer. They have been able to go into parts of Africa and dismantle hundreds of thousands of years of accomplishment to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Not totally, but to a certain extent, they've done quite a bit of damage with that Bible and their Kohan, or whatever that thing is, the other book of lies, shit they made up. You know, I have no respect for it. I have no respect for them, you know, because I don't respect deceivers and evil people. I don't. And I'm never gonna, and I want you to understand, don't be afraid of these cowards, these punks. See, because if they had any real guts and the real appreciation for our ancestors and for what the universe has blessed us all with at birth, why would they need to make you follow them and believe in their crap? Why can't they tell you you have everything built into yourself? You don't need nothing from me. You don't need, all you need is wisdom, knowledge, and to be awakened. See, if they did that somewhere, I'd have a little more respect for them. But the little nanites and slivers of truth that's in that Bible and covered by a matrix of absolute intentional brainwashing lies. It's evil, it's diabolical. Okay, so to overcome that, Brother Philippe Matthews has given you a whole system where you can get the complete analysis. You can take that analysis, go over to use the system that he's going to give you, and then use the systems from Dianetics to clear yourself. Just read the basic. You don't need to go deep all into Scientology, all that stupid. No, you just need the bare bone basic knowledge of the of how to go do the clearing process. Sit down on the couch or chair and talk with somebody you trust and let them walk you through any kind of engrams or brain damage or psycho mental engrams, that which is a thought that repeats, that regurgitates emotions that has long been over, but you see the body is trying to cope, and this is part of the coping mechanism. So you got some of this stuff going on inside you, in your brain. And so you got to get that cleared up while and this is you do all these things at the same time. You keep doing your mantras, you keep doing your meditation, you keep doing your Tai Chi, you keep doing, all of your discipline things that's going to eat right, go to the gym, exercise, do what you got to do to get yourself disciplined, to get this instinctive intelligence under your complete and total control as much as you can in this, what's left of your lifetime. I don't know where you are on your life cycle. We usually get about 100 years in this form. I don't know where you are, but wherever you are, start today. And I guarantee you within a year, you're going to start to see some major improvement. And I don't even think it's going to take that long. If you are able to get out from underneath that filthy Bible, that's where your salvation will begin. Because the terror of a hell that doesn't exist, that they threaten you with and terrorize you with, that falls away. The promise of a fake heaven after you die and give them 10% of all your money and everything, and you bow down to your master as the Bible teaches you, which ain't no master, only master is you within you. That's the only master that exists. It's called your intuitive intelligence. You get rid of that, and now that all the belief and all the power goes back to the intuitive intelligence, which is within you right here. You ain't got to go outside to nobody, okay? And then you get rid of this bull crap about that they have created everything and all them lies in the education system, and that America is some great filthy, stinking, low-down, dumbass America. Are you kidding me? Listen, one day, maybe after the Chinese get everything together, America might begin to get up off its knees from these filthy Confederates and these GOP boogaloo boys and these Proud Boys and all of these white supremacists, and we get out underneath all of them goddamn lies backed by their Bible. We get out from underneath all of that shit, then you know, maybe one day America might get at least up on one knee and stop laying on its belly and groveling all this filth, masquerading as some righteous good. Please, Trump let you know exactly where America is. 78 million of them filthy things voted for him. And that lets you know everything you need to know. I don't care what nobody say. I'm using my own judgment. Okay? I'm not going to give up on this system because they owe me 450 years of free labor. And I'm going to get that out of their ass. You better believe that. I ain't going to ever give up on that. As long as there's something called the American government and whatever they invent after that, I'm going to come after that shit too. I ain't going to never, ever give up on that. Watch this. Now, so once you get rid of that crap, and we ain't even talk about that stupid Quran and all that Hyksos and all them Spanish people and all their bullshit and their crap with Catholicism. Oh, please, if you spend your time just trying to figure that shit out, you'll run out of your entire lifetime. And that's what it's designed to do. Bog your mind down. Make sure you never, ever wake the hell up and take control of your life. And if you want to go ahead and keep going right on ahead, waste your time. And in the meantime, I'm going to make sure I teach as many young teens and young people as possible so I can free them up early so they don't bog their mind down, wasting their time on all of that absolute crap. I'm an insult. I'm outraged that this shit has gone on for this long. And I feel so bad for my mom and all the people who are really decent, good people, and they're trying to do the right thing, but they have no knowledge, they have no training, they were born into bullshit. Excuse my French. They can't help it, but you can see in their heart they really want to do the right thing. But I don't care how much you want to do. When you're floating in a sea of absolute matrix of lies, mind-boggling, or hypnotic, mental illness, and psychopathy, you ain't got a prayer. You ain't got a prayer. Okay? So I want to show you the evolutionary process, and this is what happens. The same with your ideas. You're going to start out small. You're going to stumble and bumble a little bit, but you're on the path. You're gonna run into some challenges that's going to make you stronger. You got to lift some weights. The challenges are like lifting weight. Okay. So after they came out and they saw the brilliance and the stonework and the massive size of it, it's terrified them. If you can see what I said here. Once they saw the magnitude of our ancestors' work and accomplishments, once the mutated Africans crawled out of the ice cave environment of Eurasia and saw what their African forefathers, because they may not remember, they're just so filthy, they may not even remember, but one day they'll find out when they get to check their DNA, because last thing I heard, they are checking DNA, so they know. It's called mitochondrial DNA. They know. And saw that their African forefathers had created what their African forefathers had created in stone. They were jealous, resentful, and that resentment and jealousy was aimed at the African people forms. But the main resentment was at Mother Nature and God for allowing them to fall behind. That's how childish they are. That's how demented They are. So this thing about them believing in some God, and that's why they put God out there somewhere. Somebody you can't validate. A Jesus you can't validate. You can't validate. No evidence ever existed. A hell you can't validate. Don't know where it is. Nobody, or you somewhere. Heaven, can't validate that either. So they made up a hodgepodge matrix of lies to get even with this God bastard that made them go into the caves and have to deal with this. The baby's crying. See, he made us go in the cave and we fell behind, and look, all the African brothers, look how beautiful they are. Their skin don't burn. They come out in the sun. We entitled. We supposed to have everything. Like a bunch of crybaby piss ass little suckers. Ooh, they make me sick whining. They got everything already. They done brutalized and terrorized and ate people and did everything. Got everything already. And still they bitching. When they see Africans get a nanite of any kind of Obama. It's Obama getting there, so how intelligent he was. Oh, Jesus. Smarter than them. No matter what they do, it couldn't get him out. So goddamn smart he scared him. And he's the result of his white mama and a black African. And look at Obama. Ain't a nanite of white in him. Nowhere. Believe me, they're terrified. When they saw that, they didn't hate Obama because he's black. They hate Obama because he's mixed. And he's proof that they are recessive and weak. And African and black is dominant. And there's nothing they can do about it. And Mother Nature made it that way. So now they pissed off at nature. That's why they're going to destroy the goddamn planet. They say, if we can't have it, we're going to destroy the whole goddamn thing. And Elon Musk knows it. And that's why he's preparing to get on a rocket and get the hell out of Dodge. He think he can go to Mars or the moon and survive. Elon, I love you, brother. But, sir, never going to happen. I know you have a very vivid, bright imagination, but the physics do not favor what you are trying to do. And you're a physics master. You should know this. If your form, your human form, is designed to function here on this planet and is an electromagnetic based form to survive in an electromagnetic field that is around the earth that allowed this form to be created to survive in an electromagnetic based form that was created to carry your infinite spirit here on this planet, not the moon. You can go there if you want to play for a minute, but you better bring your behind back here to the moon. You see what happens when you go into outer space? You start losing bone mass. Why? You need gravity to keep the body creating calcium to make the bone strong. Without the force of gravity, your body stops making calcium and you become a ball of jelly because there's no gravity. I'm not a physicist, a nuclear physicist. That's just common sense, Elon. Love you to death, brother, but you got to get that together. I mean, if you want to create the Starship to go and put satellites in low Earth orbit, if you want to send something over to visit Mars, but as soon as you get over to Mars and the gravity ain't right, your physical form is going to change. You're going to become something else. Yes, you may have a nice little trip out there, but you're spending a lot of resources to go to another planet, and you got people starving to death here on this planet. I can't support that. I can't support that. I respectfully disagree. Respectfully. Okay. So this is what happens when you become in the beginning. This is the way the human form starts out being like this, okay? Short, round, bare bone basics. And after a couple of 100,000 years, 500,000 years, you come to your perfected final form that can function outside of a cave environment, and the skin can tolerate the full force of the sun. You're tall enough to reach all the fruit in the trees. Your muscles are fully developed, and you can now climb and master your environment on every level. And this is the final form. Then we evolve to our darker, taller, more perfected final form after 100,000 more years in the sun. Out on the plains where you've been growing fields and fields of crops to store that you've learned to do. But in order to stay out there and work out there in the sun without being in some kind of sheltered cave environment, your skin would have to become like that. Your body parts would have to lean down so that your heart would not have to work to push the blood through any thick layers of body parts and organs, skin, muscles, and the whole nine. You lean down to a beautiful, jet black, beautiful, perfect specimen of absolute African manhood and womanhood. Okay? That's what you're gonna become. Okay? And so whiteness, let's look at why whiteness was created. Because they saw this beautiful African specimen of perfect manhood, and they looked at themselves and they were ashamed and jealous of that now, because now they're ugly relative to them. Okay? And so what they do not understand is that this is what was already in the blackness. It was already there. Let's go ahead and see if we can get, gotta do a little something here to get this. So I wanted you to see this piece here because I want to validate for you that out of all of this darkness and this organic manhood, everything else comes out of this perfected form. Everything else comes out of it. And that's why you'll see brothers born with these kind of eyes. And still you have the full lips, okay? As they begin to blend and intermarry and intermingle, everything else is gonna come out of this jet black African perfection, okay? Wanted to give you that. So whiteness had to be created because of the resentment and the jealousy and the terror of all different kinds of poor people working together to kill and get rid of their masters, their enslavers and their oppressors, which is the 1%. And they're not all bad. I'm not talking about Bill Gates. I'm not talking about Elon Musk. I'm not talking about the guy from Amazon. I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos. I'm not talking about these guys. These guys have money. They are the richest on the planet, but they just got here. Bill Gates, what, 1960s? Maybe the 70s, 80s at best? Just got here. They're not the 1%ers. They didn't do slavery. They didn't do colonization. They didn't do none of this land grabbing and killing and slaughtering the entire races of people. It is foolish nonsense to look at Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or Bezos, or anybody else that's a billionaire that came into money in the last 50 years. I mean, listen, family, it's stupidity. And the Democratic Party is stupid for even bringing something up like this. It's stupid. I'm not a rocket scientist, and I'm not a PhD or anything. I got a lousy 2-year degree from a community college, but you know what? I've been reading for 45 years, family, a whole bunch of stuff. And after 45 years, your common sense is gonna kick in. You're going to know what looks right and what sounds right. And you're going to have enough background knowledge like I do about the contracts and the shit crap that's going on in that government, the way they're giving money, your taxpayer dollars away to the super rich and McDonnell Douglas and Grumman and all of these different contractors that are Halliburton and all these big companies you never hear nobody talking about. That's the 1%ers. Don't even get into this Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and this guy. Get out of here. That's nonsense. So because of this Bacon's Rebellion, white had to be created as a divide and conquer tactic. The final divide and conquer tactic that is backed up by their Bible. That's what they had to do. And they created, as of the Bacon Rebellion, which happened in 1676, therefore in 1681, which is 5 years later, they created this, the miscegenation laws. The miscegenation means mixing of racial, white mixed with black. This is what miscegenation is. So these laws were to stop the mixing of the races, because now they start realizing, oh shoot, white people say, oh, we got to maintain this whiteness thing because it's getting us extra privileges and makes us entitled and privileged, special privileged people, and we're entitled to have rights over and above everybody else that pay taxes like we do. And it's all throughout the police department, the judges, all throughout the education system, the people who publish the books. It's everywhere, all throughout Hollywood, the publishing agency, New York Times, you name it. Every single publication where there are European people, white supremacy is at play. And what they're pissed off with Trump is that he's exposing every goddamn thing. They want to tell him, sit your ass down. You're making us look bad. We don't want everybody to know we got all these special rights and privileges over and above everybody. We get all free access to all the bank accounts first. We get access to all the best doctors. We get access to everything. Come on, man, you're messing up our ride. That's what they pissed off at Trump about. They're not trying to fix that shit. You can forget that, black folks, African American. You can forget that. We gotta make our own. And you know what? We'll cut their asses off, and I guarantee you, they'll come crawling to us because they still ain't got nothing. They have all the money in the world. They got access to all the best goodies in the world. But then how come they're not happy? How come they're committing suicide? Because they're spiritually dead on the inside. Their instinctive intelligence is an empty hole that goes nowhere and filled with nothing but ice and cave barbarism and mental illness. There's no spirituality there until they wake up like Eckhart Tolle, who woke up, the guy who did Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard woke up, figured out what was going on, but they hurry up and blasted his behind and made sure nobody else would follow that. So they character assassinate anybody they don't want you to follow. Because they don't want you to wake up. You're going to stop worshiping their Jesus, their Bible, their paranoia, their terrorism, their mental illness, and their Jim Jones Kool-Aid drinking BS. They don't want you to wake up from that. So they created the miscegenation laws back in 1676 by law. You see here it says law under U.S. law. And that's 100 years before the United States was even formally created as a country. 100 years, 1676, they had the Bacon's Rebellion. 5 years later, they instituted whiteness, white supremacy, and backed it up by the Bible. Well, the Bible was already there, talking shit. And so they just made it fit in. They said, see, it's even in the Bible. Obey your master. Ham, he didn't cover up Noah. So therefore, everybody that was black is cursed. See, that's why black people, they're supposed to have nothing. Not that they built the pyramids, not that they built the Sphinx, they built Stone Age, taught us astronomy, astrology, geography, all of the sciences, herbology, which morphed into pharmaceuticals that you have to this very day, husbandry, management of the animals on the planet, taught us everything. But they're supposed to have nothing because we're white and they're not. That's what you call Jim Jones, Bible backing matrix of absolute lies. And there are a few mutated Africans out there who go by the title of white, and some of them will reject that. They don't want to be called white. The smarter ones, the ones that really know what's going on, understand that there's only one race on the planet called humans, they reject being called white. Don't call me white. I'm a human with a spiritual being inside. That's why I call myself a human being. Anybody that says that to you, they're awakened. And that's where I want you to be. Start using your power. Okay? So I just wanted to briefly give you this. All right? And I'm telling you about the traumas. These are the 4 traumas that Philippe Matthews is going to explain to you. It's called genetic trauma, decontextualized trauma, vicarious trauma, and ghosting trauma. Okay, and out of that, you're going to get trauma bonding. You're going to get this capture bonding and trauma bonding with your capture, who is the Bible and this fake Jesus and these Europeans masquerading, running around calling themselves white. Okay, this is the acronyms that all of the African and white people who quote unquote happen to have that skin color, lighter skin, mutated as a result of the ice age. Is still going through the process. Only been out here 20,000 years, folks. They were in the ice for 100,000 years. They got a long way to go. So the faster they mate with those of us who can do it, who can mate with them, because it's not pretty. It's not pretty. Because you got to have a pretty strong stomach to deal with that type of human. I'm not one of them. There are many of us that are, that, you know, Tiger Woods people who deny that they have any kind of Africanness about them. That's how twisted his mind is, but I don't blame him. Wouldn't you want to be with the winners? Would you want to be with the people that the cops are killing at will? Would you want to be connected or associated with that? Token Tim in the Senate, Uncle Thomas on the Supreme Court. These people don't want nothing to do with blackness, Africanness. They're terrified of being mistaken for being what my Baba Philippe Matthews calls 4th frequency and I call 2nd frequency, which I am. I'm 2nd frequency. Okay? But I learned to be 1st frequency, but I was born 2nd frequency. Or I should say, Baba called it 4th frequency. I've moved 4th frequency to 2nd frequency. They're going to be very clear about that. I was born in a nigger bitch hole household. That's the way my father talked to my mother. Bitch, I'm your nigger. Get my food. That's what I was born into, and I'm proud of it. Welfare, cheese, y'all don't know nothing about that. If young folks, y'all had food stamps. We didn't have none of that. Proud of that. That's what I came from, and it made me stronger. That adversity made me stronger, made me who I am today, and I'm so proud of that. Because in spite of the dysfunction of my father's traumatic upbringing with an aunt who hated him, who was mentally ill herself. He grew up in that. I do not blame him for becoming what he was. I blame him for not getting corrected. And it's still, I even cut him a little slack on that because there was not a Philippe Matthews or a Russell Allen around to explain the trauma and the genetic trauma that he was already born with. But what he was blessed with, he don't even know. His mother was a 4'5", beautiful, jet black African looking South Carolinian born African American. 4 feet. That means she got that Quaison. Quaison and what's the other one? Twa Umbuti and the Quaison genetics, baby. I'm so proud of my grandmother. I loved her so much. She was jet black, and she was wider than she was tall, and beautiful, and would give you the shirt off her back. That's how caring and loving she was. Pure. Okay? And the sanest one in her entire family on the downside. Okay? So I don't blame my father. But that's what I grew out of, family. So if I'm a little emotional, a little passionate, a little enthusiastic, what you would consider to be not scholarly, that's because I'm not trying to be scholarly. I'm what Baba Philippe Matthews called fourth frequency, and I'm proud of it. And if in my next life, I want to be born. If that's the way I can look, and I'd like to have the way I want to wake up as early as I did at 22. I want that. I'm gonna put in the design. I want to have a guide that's gonna wake me up early, because I want to get into this righteous living and this freedom and this joy and this happiness and this abundant wealth and abundant mentality that you're born with. And you can talk all the crap you want about those quote unquote, Philippe Matthews call them fourth frequency. I call them second frequency brothers and sisters. But I ain't never seen too many poor ones. There are a lot of poor ones, I'm sure, but there's a lot more poor white people who are dumb as hell because they believe in white supremacy, so they don't have to learn nothing. They don't have to know nothing. Shit, the cops ain't gonna kill them. Hell, they can run at a cop with a gun, and the cop will probably drop his gun and say, hey, we don't shoot other whites. We don't have that luxury, family. So you arm up, and that's what I love about my fourth frequency is Baba Philippe Matthews called them. I call them second frequency brothers and sisters, because they arm up and they're ready to do battle. And they put the fear of God in anybody that even thinks about coming in their neighborhood. Gotta respect that. I absolutely respect that. And so then Philippe Matthews is gonna get you into the 4 types of trauma responses that are gonna come after that. And that's convert and then tame. And there's 2 more trauma responses, which, you go to his website, we give you all the background on that. I just wanted to talk to you about the capture bonding and the Stockholm syndrome that the Negroes, which Baba Philippe Matthews calls the third frequency people. The Negroes, to me, they're just one step off of the mutated African white supremacists. And I distinguish the white supremacist Confederates, GOP, white supremacist Russian boogaloo boys, filthy, what they call them other morons, what they call them, boogaloo boys, and I forget what the other filthy, whatever, them morons. They are fourth frequency, bottom of the barrel, filthy things. The Negroes are just above them because they actually believe in them, and they believe in their Bible, and they follow them, and they actually believe that they're going to actually get something from them. But baby, you got a rude awakening coming your way. Because when they get ready to do their thing, the first ones they going to kill is your dumb ass, because you're right next to them. Uncle Thomas, if you're still alive with your fat ass, they're going to take you right out. Token Tim in the Senate over there, you ain't but one of you, so you're going to be easy kill. They're going to take you right out because they're going to clean house. Rubio, the Cuban. What's that other moron from Texas? What's his name? What's that dickhead? I can't think of his name. Is it Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz? Yeah, Rubio, Ted Cruz, that moron. That's gonna be the next one they take out. And then they're going for the Puerto Ricans who think that they think they honorary whites. And the Chinese, Japanese, you'll be the last ones they come after. But believe me, they know you ain't a white Anglo-Saxon. You ain't a dev. You're not a devil, or what they call a devil. You're not one of them. When they clean out the rest of them, they coming for you. Because they actually believe that white can be dominant and survive out here in the sun. And they got a rude awakening coming for their asses as well. So all of y'all keep siding, hugging up on them, and I don't want nothing to do with them. You can have all the ones that are supposed to be, I don't want nothing to do. You can have all of mine. I don't want nothing to do with them. Until they brown up and get some kind of humanity and decency in their DNA somewhere, I don't want nothing to do with them. Y'all can have all of mine. I don't want none of that. Okay? So, and that's not that I hate. I just don't have time to deal with them at this point. Okay? Okay, and he goes into quantum entanglement. He breaks down, Baba Philippe Matthew breaks down the genetic trauma, and he goes into the decontextualized trauma and the vicarious trauma, and then of course the ghosting trauma, where you always feel like something bad is about to happen to you. He breaks all of that down for you. I'm not gonna reinvent that wheel. I'll let him take you to, because he is masterful at it. I'll leave a link in the description below. But I wanted to tell you about these two things. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I'm gonna go back to I think that's about it. And I want to talk with you about my book, The Anatomy of Existence and the Power of Belief. And I want you to also focus on the cycle of manifestation, because now we're going to go into law of attraction, anatomy of existence, the power of belief side. I've told you what they have done to hijack your belief system with their Bible and with their madness and insanity from the ice cave environment. Now that you're going to heal yourself by using the Dianetics, you're going to heal yourself by using Baba Philippe Matthews' system, okay? That you're going to diagnose your problem. You're going to use Dianetics as well as Baba Philippe Matthews' system. And you're going to go more into, I want you to focus more on this law of attraction, use of feelings, visualization, because now it's time to build our wealth. You're going to do all of this at the same time, family. I'm structurally breaking it down for you this way, but you're going to do all these things at the same time. It's going to be this way, and you're going to grow all of them at the same time. Okay, you're going to be multitasking, as I say in my past videos. That's how you're going to do this. Step by step, the muscles are going to build. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get smarter. You're going to get more adept in using your power and your authority that was given you at birth. Your power that was given you by the authority of the universal spirit that was given you at birth. And you go through 5 stages of 7s that the physical form is going to evolve over within each life cycle. And by the time you get to your 35th year, you should begin to wake up. Physically, your physical form is matured enough that now your intuitive intelligence should be able to have total control over the instinctive intelligence of the flesh form vehicle. The finite, temporary flesh form vehicle that is run by an instinctive intelligence. But you, the micro God, that is utilizing your intuitive intelligence to control everything. Now you know you have it. Now I gave you the tools on how to find it, which is meditation, Tai Chi, right? And practice, 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 repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. The weight and the terror is gone from the filthy Bible, the lies, the matrix, the mind-boggling Jim Jones nonsense is gone. You're free. All that energy now goes into rinse and repeat, positive, constructive, projecting thoughts all the time, all day long. See yourself having more already. Feel it, see it, be it. Spend your mental energy focused on that. And your heaven will appear right before your very eyes. You will feel it because you'll know what you are, an infinite micro God having a human experience repeatedly and forever. You will get a new body as soon as this one times out, like that, in the twinkling of an eye. Boom, you'll be reborn. Because that's what the order has set up and put into motion, and it's going to stay in motion, and nothing nobody can do about it. Okay? And you know that. You don't hope it. You don't pray it. You don't think and have faith in it. You know it. You don't need faith when you got wisdom and knowledge. You don't need faith because you got knowledge and wisdom, which is that which propels the subconscious machine to manufacture whatever you want because you know it. You are it. That's what they call a witch or a warlock. That was the term they gave it to you. But it was a magician, because for you to do what you said, you say what you're going to do and you do it. Oh, they're not used to that. They're not used to people saying what they mean and meaning what they say and actually doing it. Oh, they're not used to that. They call you a magician. They say, oh, this is magical. It's not magical. Everybody can do it. It's just that most people haven't exercised and built that muscle to be able to make it happen because you didn't know. It's not your fault. There's no blame. That's what the term "there is no blame," that's what it refers to. You didn't know. Now you know. Okay, family? I'm going to wrap this up. And I hope that it's been informative and fruitful. And practice, practice, practice. Build muscle, build strength, and you'll get there. I'll put a link to my website where you can see the other movies, and I'll see you in the next movie. Take care. One love, family.